start getting social media stuff sent.
I'm so bad at all that. It's probably why we don't have all that many people listening.
Yeah. I'm bad. I should be doing it more after the fact. I don't. I'm so busy.
Yeah,
hello, everybody. We're live on YouTube.
Why? Where is it?
All right. So love this shortcut and Stream Deck to tweet things out. Makes it so easy. All right, let's copy that whole thing. And boom.
There it is. Boom.
I tweeted that. Just push a button. Boom. I tweeted that. Of course, you can't do it on Mastodon.
Do what on Mastodon?
I can't. I'm sure there's somebody who's programmed something. You could send it with the Stream Deck.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It just seems like so many of these social services just kind of people went to in a panic when they were trying to get away from Twitter.
Right.
Now, the most amazing part to me is all the people that talked about, oh, I'm leaving Twitter because of, this, and this, and Elon Musk is an asshole, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then not all, but a lot quietly came back because they weren't getting the engagement on Mastodon and Counter Social and some of these other ones that.
Yeah, there's a good engagement. Are you on Mastodon?
Yeah.
It's under Mac Parrot?
I think so. Hold on.
Oh, got it. Yep, it is.
Yeah, I don't really do much with it.
Bird.makeup.
Of course, I don't really do much with Twitter either. So
that's an interesting server you got on. Bird.makeup.
That's a server? Did I make a server called Bird.makeup?
Did you create the server or did you join it?
I have no idea. I must have joined it.
We're like a Mastodon.social, Mastodon.cloud. Oh, probably should check to see if anybody's coming. Yep, Kelly's there. Keeping her waiting. Shouldn't do that. I shouldn't be keeping Kelly waiting.
Don't keep Kelly waiting.
It was stressing me out, man. I thought you were
I don't blame you. Wow.
Leaving me in timeout or something.
No, I was looking. I had the window hidden. Hey, you.
Hi. Hi, guy.
How you doing?
Hey. Yeah, I'm back to using my my Sony A5100.
Oh.
Friggin' continuity. I was having all kinds of trouble with continuity and StreamYard.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wouldn't connect.
Weird.
Or I'd get it to connect with like Brave, because you have to use a Chromium based browser. And I can get it sometimes to connect during Brave, sometimes to connect with Chrome, sometimes with this, and so it's like, life is too short. I've got this beautiful A5100 camera with a lens I spent way too much money on, so I'm just going to use that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's buy more hardware that I don't really need, like the Rodecaster Pro.
Oh, yeah, he bought a Rodecaster Pro. I couldn't believe it.
Well, enough people have made YouTube
first gen
videos about him, of course.
The first gen.
He's going to get one.
Yeah. Well, I got one for like $300.
Yeah.
So I figured, and this all happened like just before I went into the hospital. So, my wife is helping me through the door because I'm still half looped on anesthesia. And there's this huge box that's right there by the door. And I'm thinking, oh crap, right. I'm going to have to spend all this money on surgery and all the rest of that. Now I got to tell my wife I just bought an audio interface that I didn't really need. So,
So what I'm hearing is that your wife is about to email me about a killer deal on a Rodecaster Pro.
Well, maybe.
There you go.
I got an Arturia mini fuse that you might be interested in.
I'm always low key interested in fixing something. The one thing, here's how that Guy and I are absolutely not related in any way. This is the exact same microphone I've been using for like 15 years.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand that.
I'm going on 4 years on this one, so
Again,
in my
it
life
makes no
I have
sense to me.
used 3 microphones. I started with a Logitech folding headset for notebooks or whatever. And I
Yeah,
got that one because it came with the little hard shell case so I could throw it in a box and not have it get messed up and then
right.
move on with my life. And then when I went XLR, I got this.
And that's what, the
And
7100?
it's the blue. This is the blue Encore 105, 100, 105.
Okay.
And then I have a travel mic, which is the AT 2020.
I don't even want to tell you what I've got. On the desk, I've got this is the Lewitt LCT 440 Pure. I've got a Behringer BA 85 over here. Under the desk.
it's got to be his PR40.
No, I don't have the PR40. But
Would you sell it?
Bring some of these up.
Now I know there's something wrong with Guy.
No, I had 2 of them. I had 2 of them, and I have a buddy who works for NPR.
Oh, you gave it to him?
And I didn't give it to him, but
He bought them. I mean.
no, he didn't buy it. He's just borrowing it
Long-term loan?
on the condition he's got a Electrovoice RE27 that I want to try. So, but this is, what is this one? Oh, this is the hell, who makes this? Elgato Wave 3 USB.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
I've looked at that. I've looked at it and looked at it.
Rode NT1.
It's got a few roads.
Goodness,
Yeah.
you don't
he has
say.
this mic. He just never uses it.
Lewitt LCT 240 Pro.
I would like a better mobile setup than what I
Heil
have.
PR40.
Of course.
So he has that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the $300 one.
Yeah. I don't know what this is. Oh, I know what this is. This is the Shure SM58 with a custom windscreen on it. But it's a basic Shure SM58 microphone. It just has this custom screen on it. Behringer BA 58. I think this is the Behringer's copy of a pretty decent Shure handheld condenser microphone. I just don't know what the model number is off the top of my head.
Don't you just name them all like this is Christine,
Fred,
and
this is
Suzanne,
Lena,
and this is Jeff, and this like
and
Bobby and Billy.
Shure SM7B. And those are just the ones I have right here. I have a drawer
just what you can reach.
over here
I think I bet
that
the
has
number is
more
at least
microphones.
150. It's my number in my head.
Easily.
Say what?
My a number in my mind of how many mics you have is at least 150.
No, it's not that many. 149.
I was gonna say 148 just because haha, right?
Yeah. I did a review on a Fifine. Which one was that?
Ben's in the chat here. And does we do pre-show here? So, feel better, Ben. We miss you, buddy.
Hi, Ben. I know. I saw him on the email, and I was all excited he was going to be here, and now he's not.
K658 by Fifine USB microphone.
Give Jeff like,
and it's actually a pretty decent microphone for about $80. Dynamic. It's got the RGBs because everybody wants the RGBs.
See, Ben says the Behringer is his primary vocal mic.
Yeah, Behringer makes. This is the Fifine piece of shit. Something. They make Fifine makes some okay cheap microphones, but then they also make some that are just like utter garbage.
Yeah, the only thing about my travel one is that it's mini USB, not micro, but
Oh
mini.
God, that sucks. How the hell do you
Yeah.
plug it in? What do you plug it into?
Well, you can plug it into whatever you want. It came with an A to mini cable, and then I like the only thing I've done for it lately is I upgraded to a C to mini cable so that I can plug it into my laptop and not have to, and I can eliminate the middleman if I so desire.
Yeah, there's
Because my travel setup doesn't really include an interface most of the time. It's just that microphone, so I don't have to take anything else if I don't want to.
I'm embarrassed. David saw it, but at the last Mac stock.
Oh, he had it here in my house.
Yeah, I had 15 microphones all wrapped up and stuff that I brought with me.
And
I ended up not even taking it.
Me.
I didn't even take it to the show. I ended up not even taking it to the show. But I had like an entire with cameras.
We did a podcast. You brought it.
Yeah. But by the time, because Mike had asked me to run the video board for him, which honestly I think was a terrible mistake because I had just gotten out of the hospital after having cellulitis, and I was also on blood pressure medicine. So half the time I was at that table,
fall asleep.
Like, woo! Yeah.
No, I wasn't stoned. I was like passed out.
Yeah, he was
Oh.
snoozing. He was snoozing.
And I felt so bad because, Mike was kind of depending on me. He was like, okay, well, just keep track of what's going on. It's like, sure, I will, Mike.
I think everything was turned out fine.
I know, but I felt really bad because, I don't want to commit to doing something and then just blow it that badly. And it was not pretty. It really wasn't. Hi, recording in progress. How are you?
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure Jeff will jump in. And he said he was running late, so
okay.
We can keep going. We can go. I'll work him in.
All right.
We're at episode 253. Got the
Where
notes.
is?
I remember to send it to the right email address this time, Kelly.
Yes, I can see it, and it's not giving me any grief.
Oh,
I can't find
Jeff's
this.
just in time.
I can't find the notes. Where are they?
You're
Oh,
in there.
there they are.
They're over there. Look under a microphone.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they won't be there.
Jeff got just right in. We were about to start.
Sorry about the delay.
Moment.
No worries. No worries.
Were you picking
How
up
the-
your new controller?
Yeah.
No, it's in Texas.
How
Now
the
I'm
hell
worried
are
about
you,
it.
Jeff?
I want your controller to be okay. I hope it gets out of Texas alive.
I hope it does too. Guy, I'm doing okay. My new game
Good.
controller has gotten all the way from somewhere in China out to Chicago, now into Grand Prairie, Texas. And I'm hoping it gets out of Texas alive because
I want to do that.
It's-
Chicago, Texas, and come back up to you.
I asked him if Jeffy from Family Circus worked for UPS now.
yeah, I believe the answer, Kelly, is yes. Yes, he does.
I couldn't find it, Mommy.
Yeah. So this game controller has flown past Denver twice.
Just doesn't want to get there.
It's just making laps. It's sightseeing.
I remember getting something from Amazon once, and it went. No, it wasn't Amazon. It was what is the big Chinese site everybody buys cheap tech from? That it's half the time it's garbage.
Alibaba?
Yeah, Alibaba, and it went from like China to or somewhere in China to Hong Kong to like FedEx's big hub in Tennessee.
Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Memphis.
To Texas, and then somehow went back to Memphis, and then to Maryland, and then New York, and then and it was like this. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like by the time it finally came here, it was like I don't even want it anymore. Just get it away from me.
It came by slow boat.
It's out of style.
It's out of style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
New version
the-
shipped a week before it showed up at Guy's house.
the precious elements in the microphone gave out before it ever got to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I laugh only because it's true.
It is
Yeah.
true.
So anyhow, this game controller that Kelly totally
I saw that. Yeah.
tricked me into buying. You enabler.
I did no such thing. All I
Um,
did was show you a controller that is super awesome and said, "Hi, I'm here to spend Jeff's money." I mean, like your expectations should have been very well managed.
How dare you talk about something that somebody else may want to buy at some point in the future?
Yeah,
That's
Kelly
like
knows how to play it.
sending me links to microphones. It's as soon as I get one, it's like, son of a bitch.
I've done that a few times for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I end up with another freaking microphone. What the hell?
I know your weakness.
Well, my controller's been in Texas for days. I actually could have driven down, picked it up
Yeah.
at wherever it is in Grand Prairie, Texas, and gotten back up. And yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as you got into Grand Prairie, Texas, it would have been like, oh, no, sorry. It just went directly to Boulder. Sorry.
It's waiting
Right.
for you at home now. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
waiting for me at home.
And here you are in Texas.
Yeah. It's
Get
like
some
a
barbecue.
Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
Ben's in the chat. He said, just airdrop the package UPS.
Right?
It was delivered as an artifact.
This is a product of a more elegant age.
Good one, Ben.
Yes.
All right, kids, you ready to start?
I suppose. Oh, we've started without you. You just want to
Oh,
be
yeah,
on topic
yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
crap. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Wow. Really? Really? A show at this point.
Yeah, that
In this
thing.
economy?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to In Touch with iOS with our special guest tonight, Dave Ginsburg. Dave, it's so great to have you here with us. How's it going? How was that?
Oh, that was perfect. I just started recording on Audio Hijack too.
Well, Jeff and I've started doing In Touch with Nintendo Switch, apparently. So now you have a network. And
I got some pre-show stuff.
Well, we missed a bet when Jeff said welcome to iOS or welcome to In Touch with iOS, and one of us didn't say underpants.
No.
because he
Missed
didn't say
opportunity.
3-2. I mean, if you don't channel your inner Chuck, I can't channel my inner Jeff again.
Yeah, that's true.
Did
Fair
it
enough.
just get hot in here, or do I just need therapy?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's
It's gonna be that show, kids.
It's gonna be that
Buckle
kind of
up.
show. And I knew it when I had all you guys on, but that's why I have you, because I love you guys.
And you hit send anyway.
Oh, the wicked webs that we weave.
You
Oh, yeah.
looked at that list of emails and you went, it's fine. And you hit
Yeah.
it anyway.
I have a
This
hypothesis.
has got to be the best idea I've had since I started doing this podcast.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? All right, Dave.
Nothing.
Here's my hypothesis.
Okay.
You and Chuck have this behind the scenes bet going on, and you're intentionally picking groups of us just to see what happens, and you both have bets about how far things will go. And I believe that the two of you are also dropping very specific words that you have pre-selected just to trigger us into going off the rails in specific ways. I cannot wait to
Like,
see
"Hi, Kelly."
the highlight reel.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you actually need trigger words. Is that what you're saying here, Jeff? You need trigger words for this?
Well, they're
I mean, I realize it helps. I realize it
help.
helps.
But like okay, we're recording.
It's
3,
just a bonus
2.
part of the bet, is all it is.
Yeah, things
For-
like
for-
that.
For an extra $5, if he says into touch in a sentence, then
In the touch.
In
In
the
touch
touch.
underpants.
Yeah, it's like podcast bingo, except like the
Yeah.
insane version of it. Oddly enough,
right.
I seem to be on free space.
in
Huh.
in the first episode of Ted Lasso, he says,
I love that
I'll
show.
give you $5 if you can use into touch in a sentence. And so then later in the press conference, Ted sits down and he says, no topic is into touch. And then later he gives him his dollar. And yeah.
Well, if
What's
you're a
this
Ted
for?
Lasso
Oh,
fan,
into touch.
Oh, yeah.
barbecue sauce.
Yes.
Love that show.
This
the
week's might
best.
have been my favorite episode. I'm not saying any more than that. I'm just
Yeah,
I
as,
need to
as
get
it
caught
dropped,
up.
my favorite of all.
It is. It was.
because I
amazing.
was down 2 and I watched 2 in a row. So
I
I was
watched
caught up from last week. Is there a new one out now?
Yeah, they
Comes
come out on Tuesdays.
Oh, crap.
Tuesday evening.
I think I'm 6 episodes behind right now.
Oh yeah, you got some catching up to do.
Oh,
Oh,
you need to
man.
catch up,
Spe-
Jeff, because now that I know that I'm going to have a hard time talking to you without accidentally saying something, so please do that.
Well, Kelly, this is in a large way your fault.
I know. I
Yeah.
can live with that. Much like your impending Switch controller. That's
Yes.
a responsibility.
Well, when they had that huge bus crash in Amsterdam, I was like, wow, I can't believe half the team died. But no spoilers.
But no spoilers.
Yeah.
No, Kelly, I believe the main reason I'm so far behind is because I sit down on the couch and I think, okay, it's time to watch Ted Lasso. But Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga on the Nintendo Switch that Kelly totally pressured me into buying. Her and Ben. I blame you too, Ben.
I didn't pressure you into buying Skywalker Saga. All I did was tell you they were having a May the 4th sale on Star Wars games, and I thought you should know. I was only being a good friend.
Trigger words.
Because nobody should have to pay full price if you can get it for half.
That's fair.
I think Dave is trying to start the show. Are you, Dave?
I told you we targeted In Touch with Nintendo Switch out from underneath him, and we're off to the races. So.
Well, let's go have some fun. Do a show here. Shall we?
All right. Let's talk about the first one.
This will be the last time the four of us are on a podcast together.
Okay.
Oh, that's not true. We could do Mac Voices live.
Anytime.
Let's put money on which one of us Chuck kicks out first.
Well, how
All right, here we go.
So it's going to be me.
Rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock.
All right, ready to go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 253 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and I have got all my favorite friends here on the show this week, and we're just having some amazing fun pre-show, but why not start a show here so we can go have some more fun talking about Apple. My guests this week, I want to welcome back to the show. I'm so glad you're back, Guy Stro. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, Dave. I appreciate it. Now with 50% less eyes.
Yes. And, so glad that you're
couldn't
back with
see
us
that joke coming.
Back to health.
But that's only because it was on this side.
It was on this side. Yeah. So, and also here, too soon. Also here, Kelly Gabat is here. Let's go back on the show. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm having a great time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're ever gonna get a podcast out of it.
I'm gonna get out of it. But
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I will tell you one. I did have a buy me a coffee donor last week, and he's a coworker, works at my company. His name is Phil.
Phil?
Shout out to Phil. He says he loves your laugh.
Oh, well, guess what?
That's me. I saw that I saw him in person. He's not even doesn't even work in my office, and he told me that. So I thought I'd share that with you because I did mention that last. Yeah, so Phil's
For
awesome.
additional donations, Kelly will laugh even more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
That just made my day. Thanks, Phil.
My new name is Steve Kenyon.
And last, gosh,
I shouldn't laugh. I'm only going to encourage you.
Probably.
Last but certainly not least, Jeff Gammond is here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm fine, and I know it's going to be a crazy ride when I'm like the stable voice of reason person in the group.
Yeah.
That's my nice way of saying, Dave, buckle up because you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. That's right.
Buckle up, Buttercup. Gosh. It's gonna be that
we miss Ben Rathik. He's in our chat at youtube.com/intouchwithios. Thanks for being here, Ben. I hope you feel better.
In touch with LOL.
We miss you.
I think Ben's not here tonight because the guilt of collaborating with Kelly to pressure me into buying a Nintendo Switch finally made him sick. That's karma right there.
Could have been. So we got some news this week. We're going to go through a few news stories. There was this big announcement. It's going to be a big topic. We're going to save it towards the middle of the show. That was that thing called Final Cut Pro and iPad. I'll leave it at that.
Now it did get warm in here.
Yes, it did. And then we got some other stuff we'll talk about. But I think between the four of us, we'll have a lot of fun here. So let's.
We already have.
And already had pre-show. Let's have more fun here. So. First story here is this is a news release that was released by Apple. Apple did release a new Apple Watch Pride Edition to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community. They are celebrating the ongoing movement to protect and advance equality for the LGBTQ plus communities around the world. They've introduced a Pride Edition sport band that accompanies its matching watch face and iOS wallpaper. So I love to see this kind of stuff that Apple is doing support of this community, because a lot of struggles with all that, and I think it actually looks kind of cool. I like the coloring and the way the watches and the band matches it nicely too.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kelly?
Well, first of all, I will, in the interest of full disclosure, I will point out that I buy the Pride Band every year, except last year because the Sport Loop was a $99 one, and I don't have any the solo loop. I don't have any solo loops. I haven't found one that felt like it was right on my arm, and so I didn't buy it, and I felt bad about it because it's cool, but it just wasn't for me. So first of all, I have all of them but one, and I love them. I wear them constantly. That's like my go-to is generally that. One of the Pride bands, depending what I'm up to. Maybe it's a Sport Loop, maybe it's the silicone with the rainbow on it. But I think they're great. And the other thing that in fact, mine is charging right now, so here's the one I have that's on it already. So the other thing about this, so I was glad to see that it's back to the $49 for this one, because it means I can buy another one this year. And my first reaction when I saw it was they have those ads with tag team in them for Whoop There It Is, and so as soon as I saw that, I just heard them in the back of my mind going sprinkles, because it was just really
sprinkles. That's right where my mind went with it too.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I am 100% here for the big gay sprinkles, and I like my previous iterations of the watch bands. This looks like the silicone, like the sort of plain silicone band that they usually do, and I think they're fun. I like them, and and I'm glad they have them out, and and I thought that one was a nice way to do it without having to be super obvious about having a big rainbow on it and stuff. Like, they're finding ways to mix it up and have it look cool and still be representative, and I thought it was great.
Absolutely. Guy, what do you think?
Unfortunately, no, because I have an Apple Watch, but unfortunately about 99% of the bands that you can buy from Apple don't fit around my like King Kong sized wrists. So I normally have to go to Amazon and get the kind that kind of like open up and then snap shut together, because those are because those are pretty much the only ones I can wear. So it's a conspiracy against people that are abnormally big, I think, is what that is.
Well, not being a standard issue adult size human, much like me, sometimes it's hard to find a watch band that fits you.
Yeah, we're
just at opposite ends of the issue adult size spectrum.
You got the tiny wrist. I've got the freaky big.
I'm up there too. So
yeah, but
get a leather punch. Get a leather punch and start making my own holes. I'll just add this piece of leather to that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
And Jeff's head exploded.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, I was going to make a joke about my eyes popped out, but that would be really bad taste. I'm sorry.
Probably.
Too soon.
Too soon. Any thoughts, Jeff, before we move on this story?
I love the Apple Watch Band Sprinkles Edition, and the fact that it also supports the LGBTQ plus community. I'm all in. It's what's killing me is it's not on the store yet, so I can't order it.
Right.
I actually had to put a reminder in OmniFocus to remind me to order the watch band on, what is it, the 23rd?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. All right. Here's a good reason why we all like Carrot as our weather app here. Apple's weather not working for some users, third time in a month, and this happened this past week as we record this. Apple did see two different major outages in April. Now the app appears to be downing for some people this week, and they don't know how. It's very unclear how widespread the issue was, but there were more reports popping up all over social media. And then 10 a.m. Pacific time, that this was on the 9th of May. Apple acknowledged downtime in the system status page. The weather may be slow or unavailable for some users. And then at 6:15 a.m., they said that when keeping the Apple Weather app open for a few minutes after it initially fails to load, it starts working for some users. All right. So I'm not kind of surprised that this is kind of something that Apple's not been doing a very good job with, especially the way they sunsetted Dark Sky. Gosh darn them.
I think
Jeff?
that's part of the reason people are so upset about it.
Yeah.
Because you took away the one I was using that was super reliable and useful, and now you're
Give me
trying
nothing
to
but
give-
crap.
Yeah, now like you've actively made it worse.
Yeah. How do you manage that? I stand by what I have said in the past, which is that when Apple bought Dark Sky, what they should have done is left it alone,
Right.
except to rebrand the name and call it Apple Weather, ditch all the old Apple Weather, and Dark Sky is just called Apple Weather now, and you're
Right.
done.
Mhm.
But no, they did this.
No, we need to mess with it.
Yep. Oh yeah, they had to mess with it. They had to mess with it. So
The carrot weather people should send Apple a fruit basket.
I was gonna
There's-
say, I wonder
Yeah.
if Brian has sent them a fruit basket.
yeah, should. They should.
And
Meat-
if I had
meat
realized
bags.
it, yeah, if I had realized it at the time, I would have opened Carrot Weather to see what kind of smack it was talking about Apple Weather.
Yeah, that Ben in the chat says Apple did the impossible, make Dark Sky not work right.
Yeah, seriously.
I agree with that, Ben. Next story here: the former head of iCloud is going to be in charge of making GM's EV software without CarPlay. Here's a twist on an ongoing story between GM and CarPlay. General Motors has hired Mike Abbott to run the software team, the company announced this week. It's the same Mike Abbott who just left Apple after spending 5 years in charge of iCloud software. Abbott's role at Apple include leadership over the iCloud service infrastructure, including iMessage and FaceTime. GM Abbott will serve as the executive vice president of software and reporting directly to the CEO, Mary Barra. And they go on and on about how great this is and all this. And so, is this like a ploy for him to say, "Hey, the heck with you, Apple. We're not going to use CarPlay anymore. I'm going to make a great product on a GM vehicle, right? Right, guy."
Well, it kind of just tells me that there's yet another reason to not buy a GM product.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm, the last car that I bought, which was a Kia Soul. It was like when I was looking at all the various cars that were available to buy, it was like I have one priority, which is I'm not going to buy a car that doesn't have CarPlay. I have yet to see a reason as to why I should change that. So I'm looking to get another car with some various other features that I need. But if it doesn't have CarPlay, you know what? I'll stick with my 2016 Kia Soul. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought this was kind of nervy on their part because now, like the headline was, GM gives CarPlay the middle finger, and because people are totally gonna pony up for a subscription for whatever kind of nonsense we can feed them.
Yeah.
And now what I'm hearing is, what if CarPlay with a monthly fee? And that doesn't sound any better. So yeah, I'm still not interested. Like, I had forgotten that was like a thing that GM was having a hissy fit about CarPlay, and they just reminded me, oh, by the way, in case you forgot, don't buy a GM car. Like, that's my takeaway from this headline.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, remember the thing we were doing that you thought was kind of a jerky move? We've doubled down on that jerky move. Thanks. So yeah,
Thank you.
I'm actually like, I'm not interested in it as a purchasing decision, but I am very, very curious what it is that GM thinks they're going to do that's going to be better than CarPlay.
Or Android Auto.
Yeah.
Oh, especially our Android Auto. Android Auto was first, and it was, when it came out, there has been a lot of evolution because it's been a long time, but when it first came out, it was fantastic, and Android Auto is really good. Like, I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it. I also haven't spent a whole lot of time with CarPlay, but both of them are solid. They're you cannot go wrong with the OS that comes from the same people that make your operating system on your phone. Like they're both good choices.
And the absolute best part is that it doesn't matter what car you get into. If it's connected to your phone, it looks exactly the same.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew what to do. Like I had a rental car recently, plugged in the cable, and everything was there just like it was supposed to be. Everything was fine. There was no there was no like, let's pair it and let me spend 10 minutes in the parking lot making sure everything works like it's supposed to before I pull out. No, plug in the cable, on the way. It was a piece of cake. It was so good. And yeah, and this is just sort of, like the Ford nonsense that they peddled for a while. Was it Ford that did the BlackBerry one?
Yes.
I think.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, wasn't that with Microsoft as well? Microsoft Sync.
Ford
Sync.
Sync.
Which was just awful.
Yeah, I have a lot of words for my opinion of that, and I'm not going to use any of them because I don't want to make David have to edit. But yeah, that should tell you all you know about, because my dad had a Ford when that came out, and so and was like, I can't get my phone to connect to it. Can you help me? And I tried, and I'm like, actually no, I can't get mine connected to it either, and that's really irritating. And I'm tired of having to figure out the secret password to do the dance to get the car to do what it's supposed to do with your phone, no matter what. I drive an Outback, and every time I get a new phone, the Outback hates my phone in a new and different way. And it's really frustrating, and I can't do anything about it because it's not, it's not like there's software updates for the Bluetooth interface in the car. So it's not a great experience. And so whatever I get next is going to have CarPlay in some form or another. And it's non-negotiable. It's table stakes at this point on an automobile for me, because that's just ludicrous. And so thank you, GM, for reminding me that you are not on the list when I go car shopping.
Yeah, if only there were other car companies that you could buy from. If only.
Well, Jeff, you got to get in here because I know you have thoughts.
I think for GM, this is more of an FU than it is for what's his name? I've already forgotten his name because he moved on. So why do I need to remember?
The CarPlay guy.
The CarPlay guy. Yeah. And I think that for him, it was more of GM probably approached him and said, hey, we'd like to offer you a lot of money, and this is what we're doing. Does this sound like an interesting thing? And he's just saying 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And he says, yes. And off he goes. And that's that. Also, I want to point out that Kelly says she drives an Outback. I drive a Prius. We each have the stereotype car for the city we live in.
There's a whole lot of Prius happening here too.
There's a whole lot of Subaru Outback happening here too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm unsurprised.
Countrywide. A couple more comments from Ben. He said he'll be fired with Mary in a year. That Mike Abbott. And then he also says Ford will be sending GM a Detroit-sized fruit basket.
Yeah.
And shout out to Webb Bixby is in the chat. How you doing, Webb? Good to see you. He says it must be that clean Iowa air for Ben. So let's go on next story here. This is another CarPlay story. Actually, a cool CarPlay story. Instapaper, which we all love to be able to read articles and put all our articles in one place. That's that popular read it later service is now going to be available in CarPlay. You might be wondering, okay, a reading focused app that translates to CarPlay, but it comes down to it being a text to speech technology. So in a blog post this past Friday, before we record this, the Instapaper touted that the new CarPlay app was about the new CarPlay app, and they explained that the app lets you view a list of saved articles, and then you can tap one of them, and then it will automatically start reading the article using Instapaper's text-to-speech technology. It's going to be available to free and premium Instapaper users, which is interesting. The paid subscribers will also be able to get access to creating playlists with the premium Instapaper. It's automatically creates that playlist and lets you list articles one after the other, which is great. And we want to support great services. Instapaper is a really good service. Use that, Jeff. What do you think?
I use Instapaper every single day.
Yeah.
When I got the pop-up when I opened Instapaper on my iPhone after the update installed, the pop-up, it says, "Hey, we can do CarPlay now." My first thought was, why do I want to be looking at my screen reading articles while I'm driving? And then I figured out what it was. I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. Queue up a bunch of interesting articles that you want to read while you're doing the drive across town or across country, whatever,
Mhm.
and let Instapaper just read all that stuff to you. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
What do you think, Kelly?
I'm glad of it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope the voice is pleasant to listen to. I'm sure they've done a lot to make sure that it's kind of optimized that everybody can, hear it okay and everything. But I'm happy to hear it because it would be nice to have that kind of opportunity if I have time in the car for something like that. If I'm not working on a karaoke song, then it'd be nice to listen to my stuff from Instapaper and get through my queue.
Do you use this guy? Do you use Instapaper?
Sometimes, as long as the voice that's reading it is like one of the guys from the Beastie Boys, then yeah, I'm all in with it. I think that's a great idea. Make sure, and word of the wise, everyone, set up your playlists and what articles you wanted to read before you get behind the wheel of the car. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Good call.
Yeah, don't be one of them, okay?
Don't be that
Please,
guy.
don't be that guy.
Don't be that person. So yeah, good stuff. And other two heartwarming stories that involved AirTag and Apple Watch. AirTag was credited for helping investigators locate over $1.1 million in cash stolen from an armored truck. AirTag item tracker once again in news, whereas this time for its role in helping investigators track down two brothers accused of stealing over $1.1 million from a Brinks armored truck robbery. Court documents had revealed that the AirTag was hidden in one of the bins of money. Love it. And two brothers were initially charged for their role in the robbery last December. The two are accused of stealing over $1 million from an armored truck and an automatic teller machine in Chicago on Halloween. So the U.S. attorney has announced what happened and the details of the robbery, and they go through the whole test of this. So this is another testament of how valuable the AirTags are, and having not only finding your keys and your devices. It's good for things just like Jeff found one on the ground, and I'm sure it still hasn't got to its owner yet.
No, they still haven't flipped the switch on their phone so that
lost?
it's reported lost.
Yep.
Oh,
So
no.
It's sitting on a table by my door, just waiting for me to be able to get it back to its owner.
Waiting for the phone to ring, like on
Yes.
prom night.
I like
Oh
these.
my God,
I
it's like you're here.
I know.
AirTag.
I like these kind of stories. Which guys, I think it's just something that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
it's,
even worse. They got charged with stealing an AirTag.
that too. So
The
yeah,
thing I'm curious about is what prompted somebody to put an AirTag in the bin.
yeah, it doesn't. I don't know.
It doesn't did they just start normally doing that so they could make sure the money was getting to where it was going? Like I just was like that was the thing I
As opposed to
wondered.
using the tracking systems that they already had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a Brinks truck probably has some sort of telemetry. Like I
Oh,
don't think
yeah.
I'm going out on any kind of flimsy limb to say that. Like that's a
Well, the thing
limb
is,
the size of a Kia. Like no,
they
there's
took-
no yeah.
they took the bin, so that means that the AirTag went with the bin. So
Right, but something prompted someone to go, I'm gonna go draw some money on some AirTags and stick them in the bins and see what happens. And I was just wondering what would have prompted that. That's all. 'Cause I
And
know
obviously,
that's
neither
an
of these
interesting
brothers,
story.
neither of these brothers use an iPhone, or it would have told them that there was an AirTag in there
There's that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why they needed the money
to
Then
buy
there's
an
that.
iPhone.
to buy iPhone 15.
Okay, well then they're totally justified in stealing all that money.
Yeah,
There you go.
And then another story involving an Apple Watch. We hear these stories almost seems like daily. Apple Watch helped save a woman's life after collapsing in a hotel room from a ruptured aorta.
Ooh,
Oh my god.
A user on Reddit had shared an incredible story on how Apple Watch helped save their mom's life. According to Reddit, the user said that their mom was on a business trip staying at a hotel and she started to feel a pain in her chest. She texted a friend who was in the same hotel, and shortly after that, she collapsed to the floor face first. So the friend arrived to the room, found her collapsed, and they immediately called 911. To the surprise, they told her the ambulance was already on the way because she fell, and the Apple Watch also called 911. Those extra minutes that were saved by the Apple Watch saved her life. So this is such an amazing story, and I love hearing this stuff. And more reason I'm trying to get my mom to get an Apple Watch. She's just being very stubborn about it, but because she always has that trouble, I want her to listen to this sound to find her phone, because she's always losing it. But that's one of the reasons. But this is probably one of the more primary reasons, right, Jeff?
Yes. My parents both have Apple Watches, and they love having the watches. But I think I appreciate them having the watches more than they do, because the peace of mind that I get knowing that they both have their Apple Watch, and I'm set up as the emergency contact. It's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. Any thoughts, Kelly, your guy?
Well, I accidentally set it off once and hadn't realized that I had, and I started getting calls from both my kids and my wife going, "Are you okay?" It's like, "No, I'm fine.
Well,
what's the problem?" Of course, the problem with that is if it happens again and I'm actually laid out on the floor, they'll be like, "Oh, Dad didn't take his watch off again.
Push the button on the thing."
Yeah, should have done that thing instead of doing that other thing.
A thing of that thing. So
yeah,
That's the thing about it.
It is. Ooh, good one. Last story, Shazam. We like Shazam, don't we? Shazam was updated to now support Apple Music Classical. Shazam did get updated to support that on the iPhone, allowing the two apps to work together for classical music. This was launched in March, so it's been almost 2 months now for a classical app, and with over 5 million classic music tracks. And they say now you can open classical songs, and Shazam will bring it right into the Apple Music classical
nice.
app.
Cool.
And I don't know. I'm not much of a classical music listener, but I think I know, Jeff. I think you like to listen a little bit.
I listen to a lot of classical music, so I'm glad that there's now the Shazam integration with Apple Music Classical. Maybe it will get me to use Apple Music Classical more. Putting it on my iPhone, it's like this is not where I need the app. I need it on my Mac, where I have the big setup with the right speakers and external DAC and all that. But that's a different topic. The point being, Shazam is integrating now, and that's really good, because the whole Shazamming with classical music has just straight up sucked until now.
Indeed. Yeah.
All right. I think that's what about sums it up. Thanks, guys. And let's go ahead and move on to topics this week. Beta is this week, as we always talk about on this show. Apple did confirm that iOS 16.5 will be released the following week, next week. That's going to be on Monday, I believe. Usually Monday or Tuesday, they tend to release the new releases. That went in accordance with the Pride Edition ban we talked about. They also confirmed this as well, that 16.5 on iOS and Watch OS 9.5 will be released to the public next week. The software has been in updates since late March. And this is good stuff. I'm glad to see that this, and then they kind of coordinated this with the Pride, what we talked about earlier. The new sports tab in Apple News, which is cool, and a number of other great things that were added to it in here. Not a huge ton of changes. Jeff, have you noticed anything in iPad with beta and this go around? We're the release candidate now for those who are taking score here.
Yeah, I have the RC installed on my sacrificial iPad, and I'm not seeing any differences between that and the previous version. So at this point, to me, that's actually a good sign. Yeah. So I don't think Guy or Kelly, are you doing any beta testing?
No.
Yeah. No, not right now.
Watch OS 9.5 is a release candidate as well. Not a lot of big changes have been noticed in the Watch OS, but They did add the simplified beta installation method that was first introduced in 16.4, so developers can really do much easily enroll the watch. It always was a challenge. I don't do that. I stay away from them. I don't have a test a watch to be doing that, so I avoid that one. But
Good
that
call.
is out.
Down that path leads
Yes.
to madness.
Somebody who used to be on the show did that and bricked an Apple Watch. I don't want anybody else to experience
There be
that,
dragons.
So.
Yes.
TVOS 16.5 is out, and I know they did add the new thing with the sports view where you can watch four shows at four sporting events at once. I'm just going to see. I did beta test that on one of my spare Apple TVs. It was really cool. So we're hoping see any other changes to TVOS. I don't see much, but
I want that four-way split thing.
From we talk about Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars movies and.
I want to watch Star Wars, Magnificent Seven, and Seven Samurai at the same time because they're all basically the same movie.
Yeah.
I want to have Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz right next to each other.
Right. See the opportunities for awesomeness and chemical interaction endless.
Or just do the chemical interaction. Cut out the middleman.
Yep. Yeah. So I saved the best story for and really as a topic this week because I think all of us are very excited about this. Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro are now going to be on the iPad. Hell did freeze over. It's going to be with a subscription model, so that's kind of the little bit of the caveat. But they did announce this on Tuesday as we record this on May 9th. Apple did say that it'll feature an all-new touch interface and take advantage of the multi-touch on the iPad. And just to quote what Apple had said in their press release, Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro for the iPad will bring all new touch interfaces that allows users to enhance their workflows with the immediacy and intuitiveness of multi-touch. Final Cut Pro for iPad will have a powerful set of tools for video creators to record, edit, finish, and share, and all that stuff. They have a teaser video that's out there that I've got linked in the show notes. It's both pieces of software for the iPad are going to be each available for $4.99 per month each, or $49.99 per year with a 1 month free trial, which I think that's awesome. We'll all be able to try it for a month and see what we like about it. A little bit of difference here as far as compatibility. The Final Cut Pro is going to require an iPad Pro with an M1 chip or newer. Yep. So you won't be able to go below an M1 chip, which I have an M1 on my iPad, so I'm excited to try it. And then the Logic Pro will only need like an A12 Bionic iPad or newer, so you might be okay with that as far as that goes. And May 23rd is when it's going to be available in the App Store. I know people are going to be just downloading this like in droves. Mm-hmm. It does feature a lot of new features, including machine learning for scene removal mask, quick removal of placing backgrounds without using a green screen. That's kind of cool. Auto cropping and adjustment of footage and all kinds of stuff with aspect ratios. And Jeff, you've had a few days to take a look at some of the announcements. You're a big LumaFusion user. Mm-hmm. What do you think? I know you're going to at least want to try it out. We'll get the trial, see what it does in comparison. What do you think so far? What the Apple has announced?
I'm actually really excited about this, even though I'm not going to be a Final Cut Pro on iPad user, because I am fully and quite happily invested in LumaFusion. But this is great for mobile editors, and the other part of it that I think made this a necessity is that there's been so much discussion about if the iPad Pro is actually a Pro device, where's Apple's Pro software for it? So having Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro available on the iPad is a very overt move on Apple's part to show that, yes, they are looking at the iPad Pro as a professional content creation device.
Yep. Is this something you're going to try out, Kelly?
No, because I don't really edit video for anything, And the audio that I do edit, I use Ferrite, and I'm very happy with Ferrite.
I was going to ask you about that in a minute here about Logic. Yeah.
On the iPad. However, I think this is good not just for creators, but I think it's good for everybody, because what this means is that Apple is taking the platform seriously, and Apple now believes in this as a weapons grade device for people to use to do what they need to do. And it hasn't felt that way for a long time. Like it's very like it was such an important thing that we got iPad OS, which is separate from the one that runs on your phone. And yet we're still not getting anything out of it that's like, let me do what I want to be, let me do what I want to do. And I'm not trying to do anything super weird or super specific or super complex or anything. But even still, a lot of times with my M1 iPad Pro, it will fall short. And so finding out that Apple apparently thinks that I can do professional level audio editing and professional level video editing with this little guy tells me that somebody there finally took it seriously and finally believes in a machine with Apple Silicon in it, believes in a machine with that much, that many cores, that much memory, the hardware profile they've got on it, the screen they've got on it, if they think they can do video editing with it and all of that. Because they have to presume not everybody's going to hook their iPad up to one of those studio displays in order to do the video edits that they're doing. So I think this is good for everybody, because it only means that, other weapons grade applications are going to come to it, and people are going to be able to do even more with one of these devices. And that's what I've been waiting for forever. And so I'm really glad to see that Apple finally found the potential in that machine that some of us saw the first time we looked at it.
Yeah. Guy, you're a big DaVinci Resolve user.
Actually, I've been using CapCut.
Oh, CapCut, that's right. Switch CapCut. Right.
Video editing. It's just for what I needed for, with maybe 2-3 tracks for video. It's just easier to use, and they've had a couple of updates that's made it even better. My problem with Final Cut Pro on the iPad, because I have an iPad Pro, but I don't have the M1, so
right,
I'm kind of locked out on that. I am interested in trying Logic Pro on the iPad, so I am going to download that and give it a try. But I don't know if even if I like it, I don't know if I would get Logic Pro for the Mac, since I'm pretty happy with Hindenburg Journalist Pro, and I'm already paying a subscription for that. So
sure.
There's a lot about Hindenburg. I mean, there was a reason why I went to Hindenburg in the first place instead of going to Logic Pro.
There's a lot of reasons why a lot of people have done exactly what you did.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hindenburg is like amazing. And the fact that so many different, what's the word I'm looking for? Logic Pro and other bits of software like that. Audio workspace.
The DAWs, digital audio.
Yeah. Thank you. For some reason, I was blanking on that. With most DAWs, you can only select one source for input, and Hindenburg, anything that you've got on your Mac, you can use as an input, and it's so great. So I would have a hard time switching to a different one at this point, even if it was Logic Pro.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what form it's going to take on the iPad, because after they overhauled GarageBand, it became a lot less
functional.
Yeah.
Not function. Well, it's not that it doesn't function. It's that if you're not using it for music specifically, then it's kind of a pain in the neck. We'll go with neck. It's kind of a pain in the neck. And that's been the case. And Logic is similarly only mostly equipped for doing something that's not music, like, I don't know, a podcast. Yeah. And like, that's where Ferrite comes in handy for me, because like, it turns out to be something that like I can grok. I can look at it. I can see how things fit together, and I can do what I want to do. And I'm literally doing it with my hands. I'm dragging things around, and I'm able to turn something into a show when I have to do audio editing. And so that's what I'm going to be curious about, is if it's going to come with the knowledge that maybe what you're doing isn't necessarily music and might be an attractive option for people who are editing podcasts. That's the thing I want to find out most of all, is if this
Right.
new mobile interface is going to come with tools for people who are just recording people talking to other people, and there's not necessarily a sax solo in the middle.
Right.
Although
Let me come back. Let me come back to Logic Pro real quick. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Let me come back to Logic Pro for a moment here. I just wanted to hit a couple of caveats with we're finding out from Final Cut Pro. Third-party app support or third-party plugins are not supported upon launch, so you're going to have to wait on that. Some creators are not too terribly excited about that because they do have a lot of plugins and add-ins that they use, but something could come soon.
It's Gen 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Gen 1, right? You can't expect
there are no
it's gonna-
plugins. There will never be
No, they
plugins.
said coming.
They just
They
said
said
not
coming
now.
soon.
Right.
Coming soon.
Yeah,
the
not now
other
is
thing-
a lot nicer than not ever. So
And the other thing too is people who have been used to doing Final Cut on their Mac, you can go to the Mac, but you can't go back. So you're going to be very limited as far as you can't go back and forth between a Mac and the iPad when you're doing any production.
I hope that's a 1.0 feature too.
I hope they really look at that because there's going to be a ton of people, and who knows, they may revamp the Mac version and look for a subscription there. It's very possible. So that's a big kind of bummer. So you're really looking at some of these features that they're changing with it, and it's going to be interesting to see where those things go when you're creating up these projects. So. But to go back to Logic Pro, yeah, I was definitely interested to hear what you thought as far as what the Ferrite is. But it looks like they've got some good features in Logic Pro. I'm a GarageBand user. I edit this podcast with GarageBand. It's been working okay for me. Interesting to see where this goes. What and how this is. It really is a cool app. I've played around with Logic Pro in the past. It's a lot of musicians use this, and our friend Dave Hamilton, I know, he uses Logic Pro a lot.
Yeah.
And so again, it's I think it's going to be limited as far as the round trip capabilities and that as well.
Sure.
But everybody's going to see where that goes. Again, it looks like Logic Pro for the iPad will also support the ability to open GarageBand projects, because GarageBand was pretty popular editing on the iPad.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have this really advanced tool when it comes to editing all that. So, but again, that will be released at the same dates. It'll be $499 and $49.99 for the year. It looks like with the Logic Pro compatibility, you're going to be able to do it on an iPad Mini or a 5th gen or later, iPad 7th gen or later, iPad Air 3rd gen or later. So it's really opening up. So because audio isn't going to need as much of hardcore processing power as video editing does.
Right.
So even the Pro can go from 2018 or later as well. So, but you got to have 16.4 in order for it to do it. They've added a bunch of things, including an all new sound browser, professional effects and instruments, and a lot of other stuff. But we'll definitely be talking a lot more about this, where that goes. But again, you're a big Ferrite user, Kelly. You and I think a lot of people like that. I have it. I have been so bad not trying to take some time to learn it and see if it could work in my workflow. But
for audio like this, like straight up audio, that like what we're doing. I would imagine that it probably would work very well for that. Part of the reason I liked it was the portability. Like wherever I was, I'm gonna passenge for an hour in the car, I can just take my headphones and edit, the whole time that I'm doing that. And I like the visual of it. Ferrite has updated recently to version 3. I also like their pricing model because it's not a subscription or anything.
Right.
But when you buy it, you can, I think it's $5 for like the paid version. And then if you want to edit, if your project is more than an hour long, then if you're going to edit a chunk of audio that's more than an hour long, then it's like $20 and then you're done. And
it's a one-time fee, right?
Yeah, one-time fee.
That. I did pay for that. I think I paid the $20.
Yeah. Well, you have me on your show, so yeah, that's a smart decision. And it was and I really like it. I tried Audacity and had such a hard time with it. I tried a couple of other things on the Mac. I tried to use GarageBand post overhaul, and it was very square peg round hole. It just really felt like I was trying to talk to somebody who had a very, very thick accent, and we just couldn't quite understand each other.
Yeah.
And so it was really hard to use, and it just made it, and like, I don't feel like I'm a very good editor anyway. And so on top of the software feeling like it was really hard, it just sucked rocks. So Ferrite makes sense. I can understand, I can see what's going on. It's very clear what I'm doing. You can use the Apple Pencil and haul your audio clips around and stuff. And it really is just a very straightforward editor to me. It makes a lot of sense. You can program some little shortcuts and stuff, and I like it a lot. So thank you, Woojie Juice, for making it possible, because literally, if it were not for Ferrite being a thing that existed, I don't know that Don Melton and I would have been able to do the Westworld podcast, because he's not an editor, and I had to become one in order for us to have that show. And in order to do that, I needed Ferrite to make that happen. So if anyone is glad that there was the Don Melton and I did a podcast about Westworld, you have Woojie Juice to thank for that, because if it weren't for them,
or to blame,
I don't know what we would have done. You can also absolutely hold them responsible if that's if you so desire. We had nothing to do with the show. We just talked about it a lot. So don't blame me for the last season of Westworld. I had nothing to do with what actually happened. All we did was talk about it. But yeah, if it weren't for Ferrite, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
we're
looking forward to them. I think Apple was smart to dive in, and they surprised us all, because we've been talking about this probably for years. that we wanted these apps on.
And it certainly took long enough.
Yeah, especially once the M series chips made it to mobile devices, the iPad at least.
Yeah, that's what it is. There was absolutely no reason. So,
yeah, for sure. So, good stuff. Glad we get some good insight on that, and it's definitely something to look forward to here. So, the other topics I wanted to hit a little bit here is this was an interesting topic here. This was an article in Macworld here. As it turns out, the iPhone is actually a bargain compared to Android phones. And I like this was the Macalope, so he's always got some good stuff in Macworld here. The first sentence here is cue the classic Barry Manilow hit. Looks like we made it because it looks like Apple's got to make it. I'm not surprised to see this, because Android devices can cost the same, if not more, than an iPhone. Granted, Google just came out with the Pixel 7a. I believe that pricing is starting at $499. So their lower end Pixels have been really, really low end, but of course
that's what the A is. It's always the kind of budget friendlier model,
right?
And it looks like a solid phone. And I was going to ask you if we were going to talk about it, because they also said when this came out that they are guaranteeing security updates for 5 years.
Yeah, so that stinks. I have the old 2XL, and that thing's just basically a brick now. I can't do anything with that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if they keep that promise.
Yeah, exactly. Because they
security. They didn't say OS. They just said security. So it's going to run like 3 versions of Android OS probably. But I was glad to see that they were coming out with that commitment right out of the gate, just because it can be really hard to do that. Like, one of the things when I have to recommend mobile devices at work, one of the reasons I recommend the Google ones is because you're getting it straight from the people who make the software, and that just makes it easier from an administrative standpoint. Like, I don't want to have to worry about what are the hoops you have to jump through if you buy a Samsung one, and if you buy this Samsung one or that Samsung one, and if it starts with an S, then it's a different thing than if you buy the Note, than if you buy whatever Samsung they just came out with. It doesn't matter when you listen to this, Samsung just came out with a new phone, and it gets confusing and weird, and they wrap Android in all of their own stuff, and then you have to try and figure that out too, and it's really hard. And so especially from an enterprise standpoint, the Google phones make a lot of sense, because then if you manage them in Google Workspace, then it's a one-stop shop. Like, someone in Mountain View, this is your problem. I don't know which one of you it is, but I know where to go to find out. And that just makes it a lot more straightforward. So I was glad to see that they at least committed to security updates, because it means it's better for everybody. Like, Go get your 7A, and you can at least make sure that your phone is secure if you're running the updates for 5 solid years, and that's a good idea. But yeah, all
Yeah.
the other, other phones are still neck and neck with Apple pricing, even though they're Android phone, which is
The
very
premium ones anyway.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
for those of
you can pick up $150
Oh yeah,
Android phone that'll run the latest version of Android, but it's not
for
going to run
about
it
6
well.
months.
Yeah, it's not going to run it well. Good luck getting updates, and the screen is going to be a piece of garbage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if that's what you want in a phone, hey, go for it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Jeff, you have any thoughts on this?
I think everyone's done a great job of expressing my thoughts on this, and yet I'm still going to add something. The I know, shocker. The
Shocker.
low end Android phones that guy was just mentioning, there's absolutely a market for that, and and if that's what you need in a phone, great. I'm glad there's a market for it for you.
Yeah.
When you look at the more premium phones, the better quality phones, where you're actually comparing Android phones to Apple phones on the same level, yeah. I mean, the price that you're going to pay,
It's still a 4-digit number.
it's yes, yeah. And then if you look at how long you can potentially use the iPhone versus the Android phone and break it down to cost per year, you're paying less for an iPhone. Plus, you know that you're going to have updates for, if you're a premium phone buyer, for as long as you own the phone. And even if you're buying a top of the line a Google Pixel, whatever,
Mhm.
what,
Mhm.
2 years? And then after that, maybe some security updates.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
There's a reason why the iPhone is the big name in used phone sales.
Oh, we talked about that. I think last week, the week
Couple-
before, there was
yeah,
a
Mhm.
article about that.
I was on talking about it.
That's right, 2 weeks ago. They're selling like crazy, and the used iPhone market is just a big bomb right now. That's what people want. They want to buy the used iPhones, and
Mhm.
there's such a secondary market because the full ride on a new phone is $1,000+ if you buy it outright.
Yeah.
Definitely an interesting thing
Yeah,
here.
there's
So.
nothing wrong with iPhone 11, 12s, and 13s.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, not at all. Couple security tips I wanted to talk about here real quick. How can you check your microphone usage on your iPhone? There are ways to do it. You can actually go in and use privacy settings to check your microphone usage history to see if anybody has gained access to it. The way you do that is you go into the settings app and you go under privacy and security option. Then you go under microphone. Every app that requested the access to the mic is listed on the screen. You toggle between any of the apps if it's green, and it means that they can access the microphone. Besides that, then you can actually go in and actually check to see when the mic is being used at the very top over by on the right hand side of the top column of an iPhone, and it'll tell you if that app is actually using that microphone. And it's kind of crazy that why people need access to your microphone, all these different apps. And I found this to be interesting to see. In the article, this is on Mac Observer, Gmail, Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp, and YouTube show the potential usage of the microphone, and the privacy can actually allow you to be able to turn it off, so people don't, these apps aren't using the mic if you don't want them to. So, have you guys knew that?
Yep.
Yep. I check on a regular basis just to make sure there's no surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
the
do
other
go
thing-
look at stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought it'd be a good tip. That was a good tip.
Mhm.
And then lastly, the other one I want to touch real quick is Apple ID was being protected with security keys. Apple did introduce security keys as that additional step to help protect the Apple ID accounts. With all the talk we've been talking about the last few weeks about people getting their phones stolen and their identity stolen and the loss of access to their Apple ID and not being able to get their photos forever because they didn't have them backed up and that whole thing. This is a really good thing to have this. What this is going to do is when you have the security key enabled, signing into an Apple ID is going to require that you enter the account's password and then use a security key to complete the two-factor authentication process instead of a traditional 6-digit verification code, which was it was one of the biggest things that why these people with social engineering people watch how you type in your PIN, they can see it, and then they steal your phone, and there, voila, you're in there. It is an extra pain for security, but it does have its pluses to protect you from this. We've also talked about things like YubiKeys. You could have that too. They have YubiKeys out there that have Lightning as well as USB plugs on the end of them. You can use that, but that's a whole nother thing. You lose that YubiKey, then you're gonna go through a little bit of a headache to try to get access when you have that. So, so one of the things you can't do with security keys is, well, you can't sign into iCloud for Windows. What a shame.
So many people are doing that now.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually do that sometimes at work on my Windows work computer. I'll sign into iCloud from there.
Okay, you can sign in, but like you can't protect it if you're going to use security.
But you
keys.
can never leave. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can never leave. Security keys also, you can't sign into older devices that can't be updated to the software version that supports security keys, which in this case is 16.3 and higher. And security keys don't support child accounts or managed Apple IDs. So do you have a thought on that, Kelly?
My primary thought in all of this is, wow, that's really great. Why won't you let me use an external authenticator app for my Apple ID? Why? Yeah. Why do you always send me a notification to the device that I'm using to get me to approve the device that I'm using?
With a code.
Yeah. I find it frustrating. And for a company that likes to talk the talk when it comes to security, they're still making me send an SMS code a fair amount of the time. Like if I'm logging into something for like an Apple Business Manager account or something, as part of my day job, they have to send a text to the phone number on file for the account. Won't let me use an authenticator app. Won't let, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, Authy, take your pick. They won't let me set that up with a rolling 6-digit code, the TOTP, time-based one-time password, so that I can just use that, so that I can integrate it with a password manager and just have a long weird password and let it negotiate the 6 digits and let me sign in. No, they won't do any of that. And I find it endlessly frustrating every time I have to go through this stupid dance to have to get an SMS message from Apple. Why are you doing this? Why won't you just let me have TOTP set up in someplace else and let me move on with my life? It is so much easier and it's so much more secure. David and I both know this. I'm preaching to the choir here. I know that, but I find it really frustrating that we're secure and your messages are end-to-end encrypted, but we're totally going to text you in order to get into your account every time. And I shout profanity about it every time. And I have filed feedback before anybody asks. I have filed feedback on this because I find it aggravating and I want it to be better than it is. And every time something pops up on the device I'm using and says somebody's trying to on my iPad, and it says someone's trying to sign in with your iPad, you cool with that? Like, come on, son. It's just endlessly aggravating.
Yep. Any other thoughts before we bring us close to a close here?
Kelly nailed it.
Oh, she did nail it. That's why I let that go to closing that out. Before we close out, though, I want to make sure I tell everybody, as we've been telling every week, is MacStock 7 is here. Tickets are available if you go to MacStock conferenceandexpo.com. Come check out this conference. We love it. I've spoke of the 7 years that they've had it in person. This will be my 7th year, and all of us have been there, and we all love this show. Jeff Gammon is speaking, and Brittany Smith is going to be speaking for the very first time at MacStock. I'm looking forward to that. Chuck Joyner is going to be there, of course. Allison Sheridan and so many other great speakers. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's a great conference. It's in Woodstock, Illinois, which is outside of Chicago. Please join us. It's going to be on July 22nd, 23rd. I got a link to the event and get some tickets as well as the speakers list. If you happen to be listening, and there's also going to be a pre-party show at Barry Folk's house at the Midwest Mac barbecue at his home. He had that at the very first Mac stock, and he's going to do it again. He's going to come back into town, and we're going to get together with all our friends and come in a little early and have some great barbecue. I think he's doing a wine tasting too. So you'll
That's
also
what I
have
have heard.
Shocked.
yes, there's gonna be, I'm not shocked at all, Mister. He
Yeah.
is the wine connoisseur. So, you can
At
you can
the
also
home with the amazing faucets.
he loves. I know Guy loves those faucets.
I do.
They're amazing.
Go. There's also a link to that, and you can just sign up, say how you know him or you know Macstock, and he'll let you in. He'll just put you on the guest list. So come check that out as well. But again, Macstock Conference and Expo.com is the site. Macstock 7. It's going to be July 22nd, 23rd, and we're going to have a blast. So come see us. With that, let's go ahead and wrap the show up for this week. And that's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter at intouchwithios, as well as on Mastodon at intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios, where we have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, like Guy always does with his fingers. To be able to know when we're doing the show, which is on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And that's at our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where we leave the live show up so you can watch the pre-show antics as well as the show on video.
You got to catch it this week.
We had plenty of them this week to watch, so go check that out, as well as we also post all the audio versions of our show when you can listen on YouTube. So go check that out. And we also have In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we have discussed are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, and Apple Podcasts, and many others. We did a bit of a revision to the website, so you'll be a lot easier to find some buttons to subscribe to the show. So check that out. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, and that's where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65, at mastodon.cloud, or I'm also on Twitter at DaveG65. And Guy Cyril, I'm so glad you're back and came back to come see us, and I'm glad you're back on the show.
This is actually my first video related podcast that I've done in a long time.
I'm very honored. So glad you're back, and tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can get a hold of me. My email address is guy@mymac.com. You can find me over on the Twitters at MacParrot or VertShark. Mastodon would be MacParrot, and Counter Social would be MacParrot. There's my webpage that I haven't updated in such a long time, which is vertshark.com. And, of course, the mymac.com podcast that I've been doing with Gaz since 2009, the weekly dose, almost always weekly dose, of pure Mac insanity. And sometimes we actually talk about tech. Oh, who knew?
Who figured?
Huh.
Hey,
Is that like a new thing?
Yeah, it is a new thing.
It must be. Kelly Gamad, thank you for being here as well. Always have a pleasure having you. Where can we find you?
Mostly you can find me on Mastodon. I'm Verso at mastodon.social, and currently over there talking smack about the Eurovision Song Contest entries, because that's happening right now, and it's super fun. And I had no idea how seriously people took it until I got on Mastodon and was watching today's semifinals with people live. Wow. And they will give it to you sugar free. There are some real savage takes out there, but it's super fun. So you can find me generally goofing off on Mastodon. Sometimes you can find me over on Mac Voices Live. Sometimes you can find me here, and occasionally you can find me other places, usually somewhere on the Incomparable Network, probably talking about a Star Wars.
Yep. Thanks again, Kelly. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet, thank you always for being here. We appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Well, thanks for always letting me come back on. I genuinely have a wonderful time, and I'm still amazed that you keep letting me come back. But yeah. Anyhow, so social media. Mastodon and Instagram. I'm Jay Gamut on both, and I'm on other social medias, but I'm just not really active anywhere else right now. And then for shows, for some reason, Chuck Joyner keeps letting me come back on Mac Voices Live on Tuesdays.
Me too.
Then on Thursdays, I am the long-standing interim host on The Big Show. Then Fridays, again on the British Tech Network, the long-standing interim host for the Mac Show. Dave lets me on here on In Touch with iOS, and then Brian Chaffin and I record the Context Machine, typically on Fridays.
Awesome. Thanks again for being here. Thank you for listening. Ben, ready to get better soon. We missed you on the show, buddy.
Yeah,
Yes,
Ben.
it's not the same without you.
It's not the same without you. And hopefully you'll be back next week. And until then, thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon.
Underpants.
Underpants.
Where'd you guys pick that up?
Underpants.
I don't know.
Where did that thing come from?
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery.
When Jeff said Chuck keeps letting him back on Mac Voices, I almost said underpants and all.
You should have.
So close.
And I probably would have come back with something like, I don't get it. What's that?
Yeah, I was actually going to do Mac Voices this week, but got home from work and was just like, ugh, and fell asleep.
Yeah.
Happens sometimes.
By the time I woke up, it was like 8:45. It's like, well,
Not anymore.
it might be a little late. It's weird. I've been sleeping a lot more lately.
That's
Looks
weird.
Like looks like Ben's going to make it tomorrow, he says.
Yay.
We'll be hopefully ready to go.
Yep. Hopefully. And Ben, if not, that's okay. I'll make a joke at your expense. But that's with love. And Dave,
Even
you
if
switch
you make it-
microphones.
Even if you make it, Jeff will
Sure.
make a joke at your expense.
Also with love.
Oh,
True.
Looks like the it went off right at the time it shouldn't have happened.
Did someone say switch microphones?
My Rodecaster Pro went down again.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is the second time this has happened.
Well, at least it waited till the show was over.
Yeah, I was sounding
Unlike
okay.
last time.
I was sounding okay the
Hey.
whole time, right?
Honestly, you should be looking at that Rodecaster Duo. That thing looks
Yeah, it does.
hot.
It looks cool as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I don't need it, but I want it.
But one's gonna show up at your house, isn't it?
No, not yet. Not yet. Until I get like some of these major bills paid off, I'm kind of curtailing most of my purchases at the moment.
Yeah.
But the last things that I've got going on, I've got a CT scan coming up on Wednesday, which will be the last of. Oh, I don't know if I told you this, Dave. The biopsy came back and it was negative. So yay!
Yeah.
Awesome.
And,
Hooray!
the doctor was like amazed because it was like one of the biggest melanomas he'd ever seen, and it's like, well, I don't do anything small, and so once the CT scan is done, at that point I go and I see the guy that's going to make the prosthetic, and and then that should be about the end of it. So
Yay!
yeah. And
Awesome.
Kelly, I don't know if I know I haven't told you this. Melissa MacMommy sent me, and so sweet. She sent me 6 eye patches, all nice and
my God.
soft. And it was like, oh, that is just so awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. How sweet. So
That was very sweet of her.
I can color coordinate my eye patch with like everything I wear. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I got to keep those options open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. That's about all that's going on with that.
So you're gonna get like a fun prosthetic with a snow globe in it or something?
I was thinking what I would
like
get
you're
one
reading my
with
mind.
like a what do they call those things? Like an
laser
hourglass. No,
beam.
hourglass.
Freaking laser.
And then once an hour, I take it out and turn it over to the other side.
It's awesome. Guy,
Have you met my
have a-
friend Days of Our Lives?
That
was good.
Guy, I have a friend who did a series of prosthetics. So he had his normal one,
Yeah.
and then he had one where it was like a target crosshair.
Okay.
And
like
Deadpool, not Deadpool. Deadshot.
like
Deadshot. I was
Deadshot.
gonna say, yeah, Deadshot.
Yeah.
And then he had another one where it had like a glow in the dark thing in it.
Ooh.
So there'd be
Oh.
like this glowing dot, and that
My
was like his
wife would
Halloween
refuse
eye.
to let me sleep into bed with her anymore if I did that.
The one that's like an
yeah, but if it
8-ball.
glows in the dark, I mean,
I know,
not the-
that's exactly why she wouldn't want me to be sleeping in the bed. It would so creep her out.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't know,
my
it just-
God.
It just seems kind of cool to me. Anyhow, so
Right.
just so you know, there are options out there for you.
Yeah. Well, and the guy I'm going to, apparently there's like a limited number of people that do these prosthetics. And I guess that's not a huge surprise. It's not like it's this huge market that, people are jumping into. So there's only a couple people that actually do it, but one of them is here in Virginia.
oh, nice.
And Dr. Deegan of the Spectrum Group, and he has been awesome. William Deegan. If anyone is still listening to this and you're in Northern Virginia and you need to see somebody that's really good about your eyes.
Just prosthetic eye.
Yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't do the prosthetic eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the one that actually sped me up an extra day.
Oh,
Because when I went to see him, I was basically in his waiting room, just moaning in agony. It's funny now, and I actually had people going, "Do you need some pain meds or anything like this?" Like, no, I'm fine.
Oh,
And because the normal eye pressure is like about, and I don't know what the scale is, but it's normally like between 13 and 16. When he measured mine, it was at 68. So it was like
holy
5
forking
times.
shirt balls.
Yeah, it was like 5 times the normal pressure, and it was agony.
oh my God.
And he said, "Well, I can send you to a guy that that does lasers that may
Frickin' laser.
that like might relieve some of the pressure, but he says it's a melanoma, and eventually there's nothing that can be done." At that point, he says, "Well, I can do it Thursday," and this was Tuesday. I said, "Can you do it any sooner? If it's gonna go anyway, just
I'm
let's
free
just-
this afternoon, Doc.
yeah,
Like,
let's just get it
what
the
do you-
hell over with." Yeah. So, and when I came out of the anesthesia, I don't remember a whole lot about the day, but apparently I was in long conversations with all of the nurses there, telling them how wonderful they are. And my wife is just like, he's really fucked up. Just, it's okay.
Yeah, he's messed up.
He's
Don't buy
so
into
messed
this.
up.
He's not usually this nice.
And I was so hungry. I hadn't eaten in 2
back.
days. I had like no appetite at all. And when I came out of the anesthesia, they had like a little sealed thing of grape juice and a little sealed thing of apple juice, some graham crackers, and a dry turkey sandwich. And it was the best damn dried turkey sandwich I'd ever had in my entire life. I said, "Bring me more dried turkey sandwiches."
all of the turkey. Yeah.
All of the turkey sandwiches. So yeah, it was a really odd day, but both my boys came up, it was good that they were able to, get out of work and all the rest of that.
Yeah.
So, it sucks. It really does suck, but I'm dealing with it as
Oh, you're amazing.
best as I can.
You amaze me.
And
You're how positive
it's-
you are.
Yeah.
well, you can wallow in misery if you want. And I'm just not interested. If I'm still alive, and as long as they don't come back and say, "Okay, well, you've got like 15 minutes to live," I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm dealing with it.
Yeah.
I'm saying goodbye to the live stream, everybody. Bye,
Bye, live stream.
Thanks for
I hope I
hanging
didn't
out
gross
tonight.
you out. Or actually, I don't care. I really don't
I was
care.
gonna say
Yeah.
he doesn't. It doesn't matter.